Welcome to the Tuscarawas County Anti-Drug Coalition podcast, bringing you open and honest conversations about resources in Tuscarawas County. Now here's your host, Jodi Salvo.
Hi, this is Jodi Salvo. Welcome to the Tuscarawas County Anti-Drug Coalition podcast. Today, I'm joined with two special guests. I have Louise Worsham from T4C, the director of T4C, and I have Pam Fouts, the co-chair of Share Christmas. So this should be a pretty fun podcast because if you're from Tuscarawas County, you're probably pretty familiar with Share Christmas. And I have the privilege that I'm in the same building as Louise, so I see Santa's workshop starting every year, probably around August and September. But clearly, we all can probably make some assumptions that it's going to look very different this year. So we're going to talk to Louise and Pam about Share Christmas this year, and they're going to tell us all about it. So let's start here with Louise. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do in Tuscarawas County, and then we'll introduce Pam, and then we'll get started on Share Christmas, okay?
Okay. As Jodi said, I am the director of T4C. T4C stands for Tuscarawas County Council for Church and Community. That's a mouthful. That's why we say T4C. T4C has been in our community since 1966. We work closely with churches and with other businesses, other agencies. A lot of what we do is providing help for people, whether it is needing help to pay their rent or to pay a utility bill, a lot of emergency assistance kinds of things. We have several other things that we do also. In a normal year, we have our Healthy Choices for Youth program, which goes into the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade classes all across the county. And we are talking to the students about risk avoidance kinds of things. This year, obviously, is very different from the schools, and so it's different for T4C as well. But we also have a youth booster program, a mentoring program that is called Youth Boosters, and that program is for students basically 8 to 12 years old, 2nd to 6th grade. We match them up with a positive role model adult, and they do some things one-on-one. They do some group activities, all based to kind of help them improve academics and also learning social skills.
Nice. Now, you do some fun stuff too, right? Well, not that that's not fun, but don't you have like some father-daughter dances?
Yes. As part of our Healthy Choices for Youth program, we have a teen mentoring program. We call it the A-Team. A stands for abstinence. And they have for about 4 years, those students have put on a father-daughter dance in February at Valentine's Day. We call it our Ties and Tiaras dance. And yes, it is so fun to see those little girls dressed up and bringing dads who most of them get pretty dressed up as well. And so that's one of the things that's just a lot of fun to see them and just to kind of promote that good father-daughter relationship.
I have to say, I love hosting podcasts because I learn something every single time. And I already learned, I didn't know the A-Team put on the father-daughter dance.
Yes,
that's so cool. Okay.
We sponsor that every year.
Very fun. Good to know.
Yes.
So anything else we need to know about T4C?
Probably, but I don't know what.
Sounds good. Okay. Very good, Louise. Thanks. And Pam, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been helping with Share Christmas for 9 years.
Oh my.
And this is my 2nd year as co-chair. Nice. And so I've enjoyed working with Louise and being able to help the people in the county and the children with their toys and the parents to get those toys for them.
Neat. Now, who's the other co-chair?
Deb Lee is our other co-chair.
Okay.
And she's been working with Share Christmas for 5 years.
Nice. So I guess my first question is, if y'all don't know what Share Christmas is, can you tell us about Share Christmas?
Share Christmas is a program that was started back in 1975. There was a realization that there were some very needy families in the community who were not going to be able to provide Christmas for their children. And it actually started from a newspaper article in the Times Reporter and was picked up by Job and Family Services and T4C. The second year, WJER and Indian Valley FFA joined in with the toy drives, and we have been going strong ever since.
Nice. So it's a great community program, effort.
It is amazing, the cooperation, the volunteers that we get from the community, donations of food and toys, money to help buy the clothing vouchers. I'm just blown away every year at the generosity of this community. It is a wonderful community to live and work in.
Neat. So, Louise, tell me a little bit about what this year Share Christmas is going to look like.
Okay. Well, first of all, the good news is there will be Share Christmas this year.
Nice. Most important thing.
Oh, yes. We have worked very hard, and I am so appreciative of Pam and Deb and actually several community people who have worked on Share Christmas in the past. We came together and kind of formed a mini committee to come up with how can we continue to do this program in light of everything that we're looking at. So this year, we will not do face-to-face interviewing. This year, it will be up to the applicant to get a copy of the application.
Okay.
And I can talk a little bit about that. They will need to get that application, they will need to fill it out, and they will need to get it back to us. Typically, that interview process does not happen until November, but this year, it's going to start Labor Day, and we must have those applications back by October 15th.
Okay. So where can people get the application?
They can go online on the T4C website and get it. They'll also be available at the school districts. Each of their buildings will have copies of this application, and they'll also be available at the county libraries.
Okay, great. So you can ask your school secretary, and they probably can find that for you, or a guidance counselor, school counselor can grab that. T4C, what is your website?
It is T4Conline.net.
T4Conline.net. And you know what, Josh is really great. He's the one that makes all our podcasts happen. I'm sure he can attach the flyer or link information to get there. And then you said county libraries would also have applications.
Yes.
Okay.
And on the online applications, there are Spanish applications online for them.
Now, let me ask you, if someone would have trouble, whether it's with reading, can they call for assistance? Can they do it verbally over the phone?
Sure, they can call our office and we would be able to help. If it is some of our Hispanic community, we have a number of volunteers in the area who work with the Hispanic population. They are going to be setting up some appointments at some of the local Latino stores.
Oh, nice.
Where they will go and be there at specific times. And they have their own Facebook network.
Okay.
And so they will get the word out that way to the Hispanic population. But if you can speak English but can't write it or can't read it, you could call our office and we would be able to help you with that as well.
So this application, is it a printout, fill in, mail back to y'all, or can they fill online?
They'll have to print it out, fill it out. They can mail it back to us.
Okay.
They can email it back to us. They can bring it to the office, and we will have a drop box outside the office doors that they can drop that in day or night. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible to get those applications back to us.
And where's the office?
The office is in the United Way building at 1458 5th Street Northwest in New Philadelphia.
Nice. Okay.
One thing we might want to stress about the applications, even though they can pick them up at the schools and the libraries, that if they have any questions about them, that they should call the T4C office and not the schools or the libraries. They've been kind enough to let us do that. So we'll answer their questions.
Wonderful. Yes. Okay. So first things we need to know is just how to access it. So that's through that application process. And then what else happens with Share Christmas?
Then we will have several volunteers who will sit with those applications, go through them, just kind of review them, make sure that we've got everything that we need to make a decision. Every applicant will receive a letter right around the 1st of December saying, yes, you have been accepted, or no, you haven't been accepted. If they have not received a letter by December 9th, then they could call our office, but we really ask that they hold off until then. At that point, that letter will tell them if they are getting food, where to go to get that food. And that's one of the things that's different this year. This year, the food will be distributed at the 3 largest food pantries in the county. So they will either, depending on where they live, they will either be directed to go to Journey's End in Newcomerstown or to Denison and Yerkesville area for the Twin City Christian Service Center, or they will come here to the Dover, New Philadelphia Greater Food Pantry and get their food that way.
Now, is their food going to be traditional food that normally comes on a Thursday, Friday through the food bank, or does it look different?
We think at this point that it would be what you would normally get at the food bank.
Okay.
Yes.
So that could kind of be a nice thing for community members that might have some barriers to go on the food bank or have not ever done that before. But if it's part of Share Christmas, it might help people kind of see that process. And it's a neat process. I mean, when you go through the food bank,
yes.
I mean, everybody's there to help and everyone understands we all can go through rough times from time to time. And I could see that being a win-win for people just to get over the barriers of going to the food bank.
Yeah. The other thing that they will receive at that time when they come to pick up their food, the food pantries don't always have meat available to purchase like through the Akron Food Bank. So we are going to make certain that everyone that comes to pick up their food for Share Christmas will also get a meat voucher. So they will be able to have turkey or ham or hot dogs or whatever they want for. Don't laugh. My mother served hot dogs one year for Christmas dinner. We still talk about it. We weren't impressed. The other thing that will be different will be our toy distribution this year. We rely heavily on the Indian Valley FFA students to help us with that. We are still going to use those students if everything goes smoothly. They will still do the toy drive at WJER. There will still be a drop-off place for churches and businesses. That will be at the former Elder Bierman store site at Newtown Mall.
So we got a lot of room to fill a store then,
a lot of room for a lot of toys, so bring them on. The big difference this year will be, instead of parents being able to go in and go shopping like we do normally, this year we are going to have to pre-package for each family. So, if you have a 2-year-old girl, then we will choose toys for a 2-year-old girl. So there's still going to be a great variety of toys, but you're not, as a parent, going to get to pick those out.
Okay.
And one thing that we are doing on the application, it also is a shortened application this year from what we usually have. They have the option to tell us yes or no. I'm okay with going to the food pantry and getting food, so I want it, or I'm okay with someone else picking out toys for my family. Nice. And they are never penalized if they tell us up front, no, I don't want that. I'm not comfortable with that.
And that's a huge help because, I mean, we are in a place in, I would tend to say our world, not even just our county or state at this point, that there's a lot more need than we normally see just because of the circumstances. So, I'm sure that's appreciated to say, yep, would really like this, or,
right.
I'll pass on that. So,
yes.
Oh, and the upside of that is when they pick up their package of toys, they can be reassured that they weren't handled by lots and lots of people.
Okay.
They've been, just picked out by one person and then wrapped up and stored so that they were clean and not handled.
Well, I guess that's a nice thing about Elder Beerman. There's probably going to be enough room to really kind of social distance and...
Yes. And between the time the toys are collected and then distributed, there will be 2 or 3 weeks in there.
No virus
so we don't have to worry about the virus.
Okay.
And just to reassure everybody, we are working with the health department to make certain that we're doing what they would want us to do. Of course, the flip side of that, we don't know what this virus is going to do. And so what I tell you today we're going to do may be different by 2:00 this afternoon. Yeah. But as of right now.
So as of right now, people can drive through to the 3 food distribution centers. And then are they driving through Elder Beerman?
It'll be a drive-through at Elder Beerman as well. Yes.
Are you guys going to need more volunteers for the Elder Beerman piece, or?
We don't know for sure. A lot of that will depend if the school students are allowed to come and help.
Sure.
The Indian Valley FFA alumni are very willing to step in and help. But of course, most of those are working adults. And so we may need to come to the community and ask for some help to distribution day for toys. But right now, we think we've got it covered.
Now, how many volunteers does it normally take?
Hundreds, thousands. When you would consider all of the people that we would normally have interviewing, the people then that help process those applications, the people that normally would be helping with the food, whether it's collecting or distributing or whatever. It's literally thousands every year.
How many people do you normally serve, or family? How do you break it down?
Last year, we served right at 900 families, and that's been pretty average for the last 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
That was just over 2,800 individuals.
Wow.
And typically, the Share Christmas program is open to anyone who qualifies. And for the most part, we go by 150% of the poverty level.
Okay.
So normally, whether you are a baby or whether you are 99 or more, if you would meet that financial guideline, why you would be eligible. This year, again, another change is that this year we are limiting it just to families who have children in the home anywhere from birth through 19.
Is that because you do expect a lot?
We are expecting more.
Families. Okay.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
Now, how do funds come through Share Christmas, or is it all donations? How does that whole process work?
It is all donations. We don't get any grant money for any of this. It is all through donations.
And you have a staff of, I know it's a small staff.
Yes, there's 4.5 in the office, but not all of them are working on Share Christmas. It's basically paid staff in the office is basically myself and Brenda Schwartz, our office assistance coordinator. We do pull in 2 or 3 other people from the office occasionally, but most of them are working with one of our other programs. So
if you were a community member, agency, organization, business, how can they assist to help with Share Christmas?
Well, probably the biggest way is this year if they would do a toy collection and donate toys, or if they would make a monetary donation. We are going to have some increased needs monetarily this year because of the way we're doing things. Typically, the food that is distributed is all donated. And so this year we will be making a donation to those 3 food pantries to help offset the additional food that they're going to have to buy because of additional numbers coming in.
Because you can't accept donations, I'm assuming, on food during a pandemic. Is that correct?
Correct. And they can make our money go so much farther. Plus, through the Akron Food Bank, so much of it is available for free to them. So, but, it's not all free. They're going to have to pay for something. So we will have some increased additional expenses for that, as well as typically when parents would come to select toys, they would also have the option to get socks, underwear, hats, and mittens. That is not happening this year. We are not having a drive for any of those items. So we have made the decision that we will increase our clothing voucher this year so that they have some additional money to buy those things that in the past they were able to get for free. So we, not knowing for certain what our numbers are going to be, but kind of using last year's numbers as a guideline, we expect that this year it's probably going to be easily another $25,000 that we would need.
Okay. So typically in the past, short of underwear, socks, clothing was not included with Share Christmas. Is that correct? Or just a clothing voucher?
Clothing voucher.
Okay.
Clothing voucher, yes. And that's always our biggest expense. We typically get a nice bill in the mail for about $75,000 for the clothing that is purchased. So we know this year it's going to be
from there. Yep.
Yes, or we're thinking that it will be, yes.
Okay. So community members, anyone that wants to help out, donations are probably what you most need at this point. Okay.
Yes. Although we could still use some volunteers to look through the applications and help us that way. So if there's somebody that is interested in doing that, give our office a call. Our phone number is 330-343-6012. And if you just call and say, hey, I'd like to help, how can you use me? Well, we'll talk with you a little bit and figure out where you'd be a good fit, and we'll get you plugged in and appreciate it greatly.
Neat. Okay. Pam, anything else?
Another thing that's a little different, usually we have a bike lottery for the applicants, and this year we won't be collecting bikes or giving out bikes.
Okay. Okay. I've always seen bikes around our agency during this time of year, so.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. Let's just wrap this up so everyone understands. Share Christmas absolutely happening. Will look different. So the big thing is it's an application process. It's a self-application this year as opposed to going in. You can get your applications, libraries, schools, on your website.
So, and also at Salvation Army.
Oh, Salvation Army as well. And that application period is from what to what?
We will accept those applications back from basically Labor Day is when they'll really be available everywhere through October 15th. We will not take any applications that are not postmarked after October 15th.
Okay, so listeners, if you're telling people about Share Christmas, please let them know the applications need to be postmarked by the 15th and how they can get the applications. So then Share Christmas itself, there will be people that are going to be needed to look over the applications to make sure they hit the criteria. It's for families with youth under the age of 12 or just,
no,
I'm sorry.
Applicants need to have children in the home birth through 19.
Birth through 19.
To get toys, we just do toys for children 12 and under.
Okay.
And let me just add also, you must have legal custody of those children that are in the home. So if, for instance, if your grandparents are an aunt and uncle and you have legal custody, please come and apply.
Okay.
But if you do not have legal custody of them, maybe you're just keeping them because of difficult circumstances in the family, this year you won't be able to do that.
Now, since people will be filling the paperwork out online, do they have to show proof of that in their application or when they come? Or okay.
No.
Just trying to figure out all those questions you might get asked. Okay.
So are we.
So then they'll have an opportunity to get food, and then there will be opportunity to pick stuff up for Share Christmas at Elder Bierman. Now, when will that actually happen? Pickups?
Pickup of toys this year will be December 21st and 22nd.
Oh, y'all be busy right before Christmas.
Yes,
huh?
we will. Yes.
Very good. And then the food, you're still probably working that one out?
That will probably be available the week before.
Okay.
And they will have an assigned food pantry to go to and probably an assigned time during that pantry's normal pickup times.
Very good. I think that's all the details. Pam, you said you have volunteered for how many years?
9 years.
Just why Share Christmas? What is it? What difference has it made for you, or why?
Well, I guess as being a retired school teacher, kids always have a special place in my heart. And that's one way that I feel that I can give back. Even though I'm not teaching, I'm reaching out to get them help to keep them happy.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. It's kind of fun to hear the why behind why we do what we do. And it's clearly the love of young people and our families. So thank you for serving for all this time.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. And Louise, I know it's just an amazing effort here in the county. And we recognize there's a lot of need right now. So I do appreciate the work and the time. And I know we'll pump out, volunteers, donations are needed for this effort because we certainly do not want families not to be able to have Christmas this year. Anything else y'all want to add before we wrap up today?
Our theme this year, I think, really expresses the whole idea of Share Christmas. And this year's theme is Love is Sharing and Caring.
Great. Well, listen, thank you. I appreciate all you do, and I hope Share Christmas goes really well this year and without any hiccups. And I'm sure it's going to be fun as you guys trying to get closer to this, but thank you for what you do. And listeners, please share about Share Christmas. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Tuscarawas County Anti-Drug Coalition podcast. Please follow us on Facebook and visit our website at adctusk.org.